Hello, Wanderers. Although I am known for my roleplay playthroughs, we're going to be doing something a little different for this episode, and that is taking a look at the newly updated A Game of Thrones mod for Crusader Kings 3. And yeah, the mod just got updated for Roads to Power just a few hours before was recording this video. It was not expected, there was no warning. Not only have they updated it for Roads to Power, but they have also added in a new start date set just after the Ashford tourney. So those of you who are familiar with the Dunk and Egg story, you will be familiar with the timeline of events that we are seeing here. So just gonna take a quick look at this and just see what we want to see here. I want to hear your comments on what kind of playthroughs you would like to see in this. And we're just going to explore a little bit of this brand new update together. So you can see here the new start date is the Shadows over Ashford. It's up here. It's the Black Dragon. So you can take a look at that there. Now we've got a couple interesting characters that we can take a look at, and we'll just kind of start and take a look around as we go through them. So we should be able to see some pretty interesting little bits of story here. So of course we can play as a King Daeron the Good. Tragedy has befallen Daeron the Good yet again. His son and heir, Baelor Targaryen, has tragically perished in the defense of a hedge knight, that's obviously Sir Duncan the Tall, during the Ashford tourney. Accidentally slain by Daeron's youngest son, Maekar, Baelor's death has weakened the House of the Dragon once more. With Baelor's son Valar confirmed as the new Prince of Dragonstone and Hand of the King, Daeron must ensure that Breakspear's death does not upset the fragile peace Westeros has known for the past 13 years. Can Daeron the Good once again guide Westeros to a period of prosperity, or will the ghosts of his brother and son doom him? So that's going to be obviously probably a fairly easy start. I mean, it says it's easy right here. You're going to start off as the King of the Iron Throne, and then presumably pass away after a few years and possibly play as Prince Valor. But you are going to have some difficulties here, namely from Damon Blackfyre. It has been 13 long years since the death of Damon the First of House Blackfyre. Now his namesake and eldest surviving son, Damon II, has come into his own while exiled in Tyrosh. Bittersteel lurks like a menacing shadow over Damon, urging him that now is not the right time to invade Westeros. But Aegor has left to serve as a sellsword, and Damon broods in Tyrosh with only his brothers and sisters as company. With the death of his cousin Baelor, Damon sees potential where his uncle does not. Can Damon the Younger rid Westeros of the Targaryen usurpers and claim his father's rightful throne? So those of you who are familiar with the Blackfyre story will certainly know of the Aegor Bittersteel and all of the characters that play into this whole all the Blackfyre rebellions, of which there were many. So this could probably be a pretty interesting playthrough, specifically because you start out as an adventurer here, which would make this probably one of the two most interesting playthroughs in this new scenario. The other one being the next one we're going to take a look at here, Duncan the Tall. This one is also an adventurer playthrough. So obviously these two playthroughs are going to be taking advantage of the brand new Roads to Power mechanics, which you guys will have seen in our Black Company playthrough that we have going on in the RP series. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out, because we are playing with the Roads to Power DLC and having a pretty interesting time, I might add. But yeah, here we have Sir Duncan the Tall. They're actually making another Game of Thrones show. What is it called? A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms? I think that's the name of the show that's going to be coming out, centered around Duncan the Tall. So, an orphan from Flea Bottom with neither name nor prestige, Sir Duncan defied the odds and thrust himself into the history of the realm by defeating Prince Aerion Targaryen in the Trial of the Seven. Having proved his worth as a knight and warrior, Dunk now ventures across the realm as a hedge knight with a new squire of royal birth at his side. Will Sir Duncan be able to teach his young squire humility and the other virtues of being a knight? So you can see here his squire is Egg. And those of you, like I said, who are familiar with this story will know who Egg is. I'm not going to give the spoilers here. I mean, you guys all know, so, and you can see what his culture is. So I don't think anybody's like not familiar with it. But if you are, I'm not going to spoil it. You can go and play as a Dunk and Egg for yourself. And I'm sure if you play as him, you're going to get some cool events that have to do with that. Next up, we're going to take a look at, I'll take a look at Prince Valar here because he could probably be another interesting character here. So this is the Prince of Dragonstone and the heir to the Iron Throne, glory that most men only achieve in their dreams, but words of Valar Targaryen had not hoped to hear for another generation. With the death of his father, Baelor Breakspear, the young prince now inherits his father's esteemed position. Next in line to the throne, and hand of the king to his grandsire, King Daeron II. Valar has sworn on his father's memory to be good and just and to rule as he would have, but Westeros approaches a time of uncertainty not seen since the first Blackfyre rebellion. Can Prince Valar uphold his father's legacy to maintain the security and stability of House Targaryen? So, obviously, playing as Prince Valar here could be another interesting option. I should point out, for those of you who are not super familiar with the Game of Thrones lore, by this point in time, I don't think there are any living like Targaryen dragons left. There may be some living dragons out there in the world because I think that I can't remember, one or two of the wild dragons might still be alive, but like flew away to, far away in Essos or something like that. Might be wrong about that, but the Targaryens don't have dragons anymore by this point. And that's all going to come to a head in Summerhall, but not a little bit after this playthrough takes place. So we're going to take a look at Prince Maekar of Summerhall here. So another Targaryen, as you can see. After the terrible accident involving his younger brother, the prickly and impatient Prince Maekar Targaryen is even more harsh. Baelor Breakspear was beloved across the land, but his younger brother lacks even half his charisma. Lords and common folk alike whisper accusations of fratricide as the realm grieves for its lost prince, but none will know the anguish Prince Maekar will face for the rest of his days. Will the memory of Baelor Breakspear forever haunt Maekar? So you can see he's got two sons here. One of them is Prince Aegon, and the other is Aerion, a bright flame here. So this could probably be a pretty interesting character here. I imagine that if you're going to do this playthrough, it's probably going to lead to a lot of infighting with House Targaryen, but you've got the Blackfyres to worry about as well. Now, we've got another interesting character here, Lord Reaper Dagon. Dagon Greyjoy, Lord of the Iron Islands, honors the old way. To say otherwise is to challenge the very might of the Lord Reaper of Pike. He has watched as the House of the Dragon has withered and led the Green Lands into decay, and is no longer content to be contained under the yoke of Targaryen weakness. With Westeros looking east, will Dagon succeed in truly honoring the ways of his ancestors? Perhaps. I mean, you could probably play a pretty cool Iron Islands playthrough with Lord Reaper Dagon here, and I imagine that that could probably be a pretty fun one, just considering this whole scenario that we got going on. So if you wanted to do a Iron Islands playthrough, this wouldn't be too bad of a scenario to pick, honestly. So yeah, that could be a cool character. And then an interesting one here, Lord Ambrose of Butterwell. Lord Ambrose's friendship with the late Aegon the Unworthy was well known, whether through his former position as a master of coin or the priceless dragon egg gifted to his grandfather. Lord Butterwell walked a mysterious path when he sent his sons to opposing sides in the Blackfyre Rebellion, only to lose both in the conflict. What, if anything, might Lord Ambrose accomplish with a dragon egg? Very good question. So this character starts off with a dragon egg. And like I said, there aren't any living dragons that the Targaryens have right now. So could lead to some interesting scenarios there. Maybe you try to hatch it yourself. I don't know about that, but you know what? If you're playing any of these other Targaryen characters, you could try to steal that. Maybe play as Damon and try to steal the egg. Who, I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities here. It is a very interesting scenario. Now, I am probably going to be playing a proper roleplay series in this mod or in this updated mod at some point here. And so if you want to see that, definitely leave some comments below. We're not going to jump into it right away. I do want to let some mods update. I want to let things simmer. And of course, we have our Black Company playthrough going on, but we will definitely be diving into this at some point. And I just want to take a look at the map and like all the things going on here. And we're just going to take a little look, a little gander. I mean, that can't be so bad, can it? So I think out of all of these, I think we're just going to start as a Damon the Second Blackfyre. Could be a very interesting playthrough. Maybe we would actually do a proper playthrough of this at some point. But yeah, let's just jump in and see what the what this new updated bookmark has in store for us. So I do have the changelog up in front of me here, and you can go and check it out yourself on the Game of Thrones mod Discord. And once you do, you will see that a lot of stuff has gotten updated for this. Obviously updated for Roads to Power. They've got the new bookmark, but not only that, but they've added in a few new things as well. Some new wildling events. It looks like some changes were made to make the wildlings a little bit more wild, so to speak. There's been a lot of smaller changes as well to the mod in general. There's a ton of changes in this, and I think you should go and check it out yourself, because if you were waiting for the mod to update, I think you will be surprised by how much stuff that they have changed and how much stuff they have added. But yeah, we're just going to take a brief look here at the new scenario. Kind of, you know, maybe some of you will get some ideas of some playthroughs you guys want to do. Maybe you'll get some ideas of some playthroughs you'll want to see on the channel. So we're not going to get too deep into things here, but we're just going to take a brief look. So what is our first event when we're playing as Lord Damon the Younger? Oh, we've got a couple things here. The roads we walk, the patch stretches on and on, a lonely winding thread twining towards the distant horizon. My camp is quiet. Most are miscellaneous chafe that flit in and out of the group on the road with each new settlement. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, I see. This is just a regular Roads of Power starting event here. So yeah, let's just get some fighters in our camp here. This is a proper Game of Thrones event, though. For 13 years, my siblings and I have been caged away in Tyrosh. When we arrived, we were infants in our Uncle Aegor Bittersteel's care. But now we are men and women grown, and still Bittersteel refuses to raise the Black Dragon in rebellion once more. He claims the time is not right. He claims I do not see the challenges ahead, that I am not ready. However, Bittersteel has gone to play sellsword in the disputed lands, and I can now dictate the future of House Blackfyre. With the death of my cousin Baelor Breakspear, presents an opportunity at last. Preparations have already been made. The seeds of my victory have already been planted across the narrow sea. All I have to do is reach out when the fruits of victory have grown ripe for the picking. I will claim my father's birthright at last. So we can take a look here. We can see, you know, Baelor Breakspear. This guy would have been a great king, but you know what? Slain by his own brother, Prince Maekar. Well, an unfortunate turn of events there. And then you can see he's got his sons here, Prince Valar and Prince Materes, the even younger prince. Is that an actual nickname from the books? I don't recall that actually, but it might be so. The even younger prince, an unfortunate nickname for him. Yeah, we can see some of the other characters here. Obviously, this is our father, Prince Damon, the first of House of Blackfyre, one of the great bastards. So those of you who don't know the Game of Thrones lore too much, I'll just briefly touch on it a little bit here because it is going to be important for this updated bookmark here. But all the whole Blackfyre thing stems from the actions of King Aegon the Unworthy. Now, if I recall correctly, and my lore is not going to be perfect here, so if I get something wrong, definitely leave a comment down below. But Aegon the Unworthy, I'm pretty sure people thought that he was going to be a good king when he first took the throne. But I mean, things did not end up that way, as you can tell by his nickname here. Rather than working to be worthy of his inherited responsibility, King Aegon V we wiled away his days to the disappointment of all. Yeah, so he was gluttonous, gregarious, arbitrary, lustful, very, very lustful, as you can tell by the fact that he has 20 children. Indeed, he had a lot, and most of them were not legitimate at all. So yeah, seducer. I mean, this man was, by the end of his life, he was practically a monster. Like, it was said, like, his corpulence was like sickening, and like he grew so large that he could barely move, and that he had like a stench to him, and it was horrific. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but I'm pretty sure that's how it was described anyways. So yeah, this guy, he had a lot of bastards. And if I recall correctly, so there are what are called the Great Bastards. So I'm pretty sure, I'm not exactly sure which ones are all the Great Bastards. I believe there were 8 of them, but probably the most important ones that you're gonna really like care about. Oh man, Brynden Bloodraven's alive in this playthrough. Could you imagine playing as a landless adventurer of Brynden Bloodraven? We're gonna get over to him in just a second there. But yeah, obviously Prince Damon here, one of the Great Bastards. So his mother was Princess Diana the Defiant. He was a bastard, like his parent. Aegon wasn't married to Dana when Damon was born here, but he was legitimized. I believe all of the Great Bastards were legitimized on King Aegon the Fifth or Fourth's deathbed. He legitimized all his bastards, and if I recall correctly, he gave Prince Damon here the Blackfyre sword. So I think we actually should no, we don't hold this. Did he not give him the sword Blackfyre? Maybe not, but I thought that he did, and I thought that that's where the house name came from. So I'm not really sure why we have it. Maybe Bittersteel? Does Bittersteel have it? He does have it. Okay, so Bittersteel's got Blackfyre. I might, like I said, I'm not. It's been a while since I've caught up on all of this lore directly. So, I'm gonna be kind of just like going off of my memory here. But yeah, Prince Damon here, the first of the Blackfyre pretenders. I guess it depends on which side. Maybe some would say that he was the rightful king. But obviously the Blackfyre Rebellion didn't work out. The Targaryens did end up winning. They won all the rest of the Blackfyre Rebellions as well, of which there were several. How many Blackfyre Rebellions were there? 5? 6? I actually don't recall. Also leave that in the comments below as well. But yeah, this guy, look at his traits. Gregarious, brave, honest, ambitious. Like, he wasn't a bad guy, really. He was just an ambitious man. And look at his traits. Could you imagine playing as this character? Just completely stacked. Beautiful, hale, strong, just a crazy fighter. That would have been a pretty fun playthrough as well. But yeah, then we've got all the other Great Bastards, and like some of them are pretty cool. Some of them you will probably be familiar with. Princess Bellanora, the Black Pearl. Oh yeah, she's an interesting one as well. I think, if I recall correctly, doesn't she go on to become a pirate or something like that? Maybe not. Maybe I'm just getting Pirates of the Caribbean stuff mixed up in here. But in any case, we've got some other ones. Princess Daenerys. We've got. I don't think. No, she's legitimate. But yeah, obviously a fan favorite. People love this guy, Aegor Bittersteel. This character, he is extremely cool. I will fully agree. Amazing commander. This is the guy who would go on to form the Golden Company, and so I believe, right? Like I said, it's been a long time since I've caught up on all the lore, but I'm quite certain Aegor Bittersteel is the founder of the Golden Company, which is why the Golden Company is always backing the Blackfyre pretenders in some of those future wars. I hope I didn't just butcher that. That's because I'm gonna be getting people are gonna be mad if I completely just butchered that lore, but I'm pretty sure that's how all this goes. Crazy character. I mean, starts off exalted warlord. This would be a pretty cool character to play as well. And then probably one of my personal favorites, and I know a personal favorite of many of you, Brendan Bloodraven. This character is crazy. So he's actually the bastard son of Aegon the Fourth and Melissa Blackwood. So he's got Blackwood blood in him. I'm a big House Blackwood fan. But because he has the Blackwoods descend from the First Men, and they still have that connection to the old gods. You can see here he's got some interesting traits. Green sight. He's a kinslayer, fornicator, incestuous albino, one-eyed. I mean, conniving puppet master. Crazy, crazy character. This guy is. I don't want to spoil everything. Go and look at the history all surrounding all of these characters if you're not familiar with it, because it is very, very cool. And I believe he does have a sword. Indeed, he does. Dark Sister. Now, this is one of the two Targaryen swords of Valyrian steel here, and he has one of them. Now, those of you who have read the Game of Thrones books, you'll probably be pretty familiar with Brendan here, though it's not very clear cut and said directly the ways that he has influence in the books, but I'm sure all of you guys know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, very, very cool characters in this scenario, and honestly, probably one of the most interesting scenarios they have for the map. This oh wow, look what they did to the map. Okay, I will claim my father's birthright at last. Yeah, look, whoa, the map looks so much better. This is crazy. Look at was it always like this? Where you would zoom out and you would see all these little details? Maybe it was. I've I literally just had a playthrough of this that went for like 4 months, and I can't actually recall if it looked like this when you zoom out. This looks different, right? Is it different? Somebody tell me in the comments below if I'm just completely unobservant. But I mean, either way, I believe the map gets updated as well, or the map table, I should say. So you've got all these cool little features over here. Oh, and you can see what is this called? The white book, with all the names of the Kingsguard in here. So Sir Gerald Hightower, Sir Arthur Dane, yeah, pretty cool characters in there as well. So yeah, like I said, there's a bunch of new stuff with the wildlings going on. So we've got, I wonder if we have some interesting ones here. Ooh, Forester, this is a cool one. Chief Raymun Redbeard. Oh, Raymun Redbeard is very cool. This is a character who led one of the biggest wildling incursions towards the wall, or even did they get south of the wall? I can't remember if they actually got south of the wall, but as far as I recall, they actually did. The North had to bring their armies up to go and deal with this guy because he ended up having such a big army. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty cool character, Raymun Redbeard. I believe that his brother survives all of that. Like that, yeah. Was this guy not? I don't think he wasn't the first king beyond the wall, but he becomes a king beyond the wall. And they're obviously showing that possibility by making him probably one of the strongest wildlings here. You could easily play as this guy. He's got 3,000 troops. You could easily play as him and go and conquer all of these little guys. You could build up your power extremely quickly. I'm guessing that they would. I'm surprised they didn't put him as one of the interesting characters on the start date there. So that's a pretty cool character there. You could also play as a Then too, but Well, I mean, they start out with a ton of troops, so that'd be a strong start as well. But Raymun Redbeard, that would be a very cool playthrough right there. So yeah, that would be, I mean, I would be tempted by this one, honestly. If you would want to see a Raymun Redbeard playthrough, let me know down below. Oh man, it'd be cool if like playing a wildling adventurer. Could you imagine playing a wildling adventurer? That would be a really cool playthrough as well. Man, there's a lot of cool things you could do with the Roads to Power update in this mod. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of really interesting characters to play as. I mean, you could play as any of, the classics here. You could play as a Prince Marin of Dorne, Lord Arian of the Stormlands. A lot of these guys are going to have some interesting stories. And like I said, I'm not as fully caught up on the lore as I would like. But yeah, some of these characters are ones who will have played parts in the Duncan Egg series. So, and I would highly recommend to go and check those out. I mean, obviously, one of the most interesting playthroughs you can play is as like House Rain here. A very powerful house in the Westerlands. I mean, y'all know the story of the reigns of Castamere and whatnot. Could be pretty interesting. Let's take a look at that Iron Islander here, Dagon. What kind of stats does he have? Pretty decent. Brave, zealous, ambitious, arrogant. He's a skilled tactician and a skilled fighter. No other traits, but you know what? This character could be pretty interesting. Does he have anything cool in his inventory? No. I mean, I have a feeling that the world kind of will descend into war at some point here, and you could get some really interesting playthroughs. So, Lord Medger of the Riverlands, I mean, House Tully is kind of cool, but they're also like kind of lame, honestly. I don't know about you guys. Although House Frey is hated in the game of from the Game of Thrones books, understandably so. They hold a soft spot in my heart because I kind of imagine the times when House Frey was not being led by Walder Frey. There was at one point there was a knight from House Frey. I can't remember what his name was, but he was known as like one of the most honorable knights of his time. I think he died at a really young age. He was the Lord of the Crossing, but he was like a well-known and well-respected knight. And I kind of like to imagine this time when House Frey was actually, a little bit more respected because they weren't always led by, Walter, the late Lord Frey, and there was different times back then. So House Blackfoot, obviously, a pretty cool playthrough there. I mean, House Mallister. House Mallister is also a favorite of mine. I'm kind of just going through and just taking a look at things. What do you got going on over here in Pentos and Mir? I mean, obviously, we can go and do some events just like you would do in the Roads to Power in the base game. I don't know if they've added any new ones, but it's entirely possible they've got some new events here. Oh, what is this? Pirate Lord John, brave Bentbow of the First Steps. I did not realize that somebody from House U went and became a a pirate at some point. If those of you guys who watched our House Dane playthrough will know that one of our council member characters was from House U. I did not realize that there was a House U member who was like a powerful pirate. This could be a very cool playthrough as well. I mean, look at this guy. One-legged, but yeah, he's kind of a badass here. The brave Bentbow. I don't know this guy's story actually. Does he appear? Does he appear in the Duncan Egg? I haven't gone through all of the Duncan Egg graphic novels or anything like that. I'm familiar with the story and I have read a little bit of it, but yeah, I'm not like fully caught up on everything there. So this could be a pretty cool playthrough though, like a Westerosi pirate lord here. Yeah, very interesting. You could go and maybe take over one of the free cities or something like that. Could be very cool. Of course, we've got all the classic, free cities characters here. Oh, they still haven't added Bravos yet. I'm excited for them to add Bravos here. And maybe, what is this over here? Lorath? This is Lorath, right? Or is Lorath up here? There's a couple. No, this is. Oh man, there's so many of them. There is a nation up here too, I believe, right? Cannot remember their name. There's quite a few very cool playthroughs you could have. Volantis. You know what? I would be totally happy if they just added Bravos and Volantis, and they kind of kept it at that. Of course, they could go and push through, and you could have. Oh wow, you can't actually even see it on the map. Maybe they don't plan on going that far, but they could probably have like Karth. Is Karth? No, it's got to be. Is it past this? Or is it right here? I think Karth might be right here. And then, of course, you've got like Astapor and all the Slavers Bay nations and stuff, which play a big part in Daenerys' story in the Game of Thrones books and series. Then, of course, the Dothraki horse lords and whatnot, basically everywhere around here. And then the further up here you go, the crazier things get, like the Jogos Nye. And oh man, the Thousand Islands here, which are just full of like alien looking people. I believe this is Ibn, right? So up here you have Ibn, and those are like really like hairy, kind of like Neanderthals, basically. So there's a lot of really crazy lore, and like Sithorios, the Summer Islands. There's a lot of stuff they could add. And I think it would make things interesting. I really love playing through some of those playthroughs. The Tall Men. I think the Tall Men are over here. I can't remember what their nation name is. Sar. I don't remember actually. Sar something or other. But in any case, yeah, they could go and add all of those different things. But I do think that you know what, they can also keep it small. Add Volantis, add Bravos. Maybe add Slavers Bay. But, they don't need to fill out all of this to have a really cool mod. And honestly, the performance in this game, or in this mod particularly, gets pretty bad sometimes. So, you know what? If they start adding everything in here, at some point the mod's going to become unplayable, right? But yeah, I think if you're going to be playing as, Lord Damon here, very cool playthrough. Playing as an adventurer, building up power, building up an army until you can go and take your rightful place as King of the Iron Throne. But yeah, lots of very cool playthroughs here. I would definitely be tempted by Raymun Redbeard playthrough. I could definitely see playing as Damon the Younger here. That could be pretty fun, especially with just the adventurer mechanics and stuff going on with that. There's a lot of very, very cool playthroughs that you can do in here. So definitely let me know what you guys think are the most interesting characters you could play through. And if you are familiar with the Duncan Egg story and familiar with this period of the timeline, let me know some other really cool characters that would be worth taking a look at. If you want to see a roleplay series set in this, I mean, you're going to. It's going to be on the channel at some point here. So let me know down in the comments below who you would like to see, and we will potentially make that choice sometime in the future, but we're not going to dive into it right away. We've got some other stuff going on. I just wanted to show this off. I wanted to get you excited about it because I am excited about it, but we will leave that here. Like I said, I want to hear your comments. I want to hear what you guys think is cool about this mod and the most cool characters that we could play as, because one day we are going to be diving right in. But until the next time, Wanderers, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.